So the first thing I want to begin with is the words of Maimonides. A tremendous statement, he says, that when a catastrophe affects a community or an individual, and it doesn't matter who that is, it would be cruel and insensitive to ignore it as if it was an accident. That's not my problem, someone else's. The fact that you're aware of it, the fact that you are living in this world while it's happening, means that it behooves you and me and everyone to do something. He calls it introspection, soul searching. He doesn't point fingers, blame others, which many are happy to do, always blame others. To look at yourself, not because you're to blame, but because we don't ignore anything in life, especially a tragedy, catastrophe. We have to look deeper. A deeper aspect of this is because the world is a symbiotic unity. Today, physics teaches us that it's all connected. It's one large mosaic, one large quilt, if you wish. We don't see it. We see the fragments with the naked eye. But beneath the surface, there's something that connects us all. Which is why you have the butterfly effect. A butterfly flaps its wings in Kansas City, and it can create a typhoon in Singapore. Meaning that it's not the quantity, it's the quality. So imagine on the good side, a good deed one place of the world creates a butterfly ripple effect and affects everything around us. And when there's pain or there's suffering, it's all our suffering. This was a mistake that many made during World War II and other tragedies. Not my problem, it's someone else's problem. Now, I definitely speak as a Jew. I'm obviously Jewish. But I also speak as a universalist, as a human being. So when you see things like this, and especially perpetrated in such a deliberate way, we all have to rise to the occasion and do something about it, in the words of Maimonides. So that's the first personal lesson. It's not life as business as usual. Life goes on. We have to be, a sense of urgency is required. Lesson number 2 is, how does that urgency translate? We need to all be soldiers. A soldier means a person who serves. A person whose life is committed not just to your own needs, but to the needs of the public. You're serving others. You look at a soldier, 24/7, even when he's asleep. He's on duty. He's on call. And doing what? Protecting innocent lives. Yes, we have the blessings of living in our comfort zones, which we take for granted, and we don't have to fight wars. Thank God. That's a blessing. But that doesn't mean there aren't other wars to be fought in times like this, a war over our moral values. You know, when we're comfortable, we usually don't have to spell out what we stand for, what we fight for. Now is a question, what are you ready to fight for? What do you stand for? What morals? When Pearl Harbor was attacked, the United States suddenly felt, and they stood up, and it was clearly, very clear what was going on. The moral clarity and conviction was absolute. But let's go back first to the soldier, and we'll talk more about the morality in a moment. To be a soldier means to serve. And that should be something in all of our lives, but especially in times when you see that the things we cherish so much have been abused, have been violated. Being a soldier means that we're not just sitting around and taking care of our own needs. We serve. We're here to bring light. We're here to serve. A soldier has a sense of urgency, a sense of purpose. An astronaut in space is a soldier. He has a purpose, a mission, and you can't waver from it. This is not meant to say that you don't have any free time of your own, but it means that your life doesn't just belong to you and your needs and your immediate pleasures and instant gratifications. That's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3 is moral conviction and clarity. You know, in Vietnam War, in contrast to World War II, at some point, or maybe it was even from the outset, but who knows, at some point it became very clear that we had no clarity. Most of those fighting that war, they had no idea, what are you fighting for? Land, resources, ideology. It was based on the concept of a domino effect of communism spreading into the Far East and stopping it somewhere. But at some point that lost any sense of importance to anyone. If it was that important, people should have been educated. Both people fighting on the front lines and the Americans at home did not understand the purpose. You can't fight a war, even if you have the greatest armies and most weapons and all the firepower in the world. If you don't know why you're fighting, you're never going to win a war like that. That's why it was so odd that a third world country, the Viet Cong, a bamboo country as they call it, could overcome this mightiest military in existence, the United States. World War II, it was very clear. At some point it was clear what Hitler and the Nazis wanted. So the moral clarity that gave, the crystallized moral clarity was, this is something that I am not just offended by, that's threatening me and my family and my children, my freedoms. The Revolutionary War in America was the same thing. You read the Declaration of Independence. They didn't want to break with England, but there was no choice. The overtaxation, the discrimination. In other words, a bigger part of the war is not just the war, it's the psychological war. Where is your mindset? You take two opponents, and one is far stronger than the other, far superior, but he's depressed, or demoralized, or doesn't really know why he's fighting. He'll most likely be vanquished, be beat by his weaker partner who has the conviction. That's how it works. Because you need that conviction, you need that clarity, you need that drive. So this is a time that wakes us up to ask ourselves, what do we stand for? What are we fighting for? Crystallize what you stand for. In a way, I don't want to compare apples and oranges, but remember when COVID broke out, that was also a critical thing. Suddenly your comfort zones are disrupted. Your security blankets are taken from you. And you're forced to ask, what do I stand for? I can't just escape. I'm going out to dinner. I'm going to watch a football game. I'm traveling somewhere. As Warren Buffett put it, when the tide is out, you see who's been swimming naked. We are compelled now, any civil, any decent, any civilized person, to ask ourselves, what do we stand for? And to fight that war, a moral conviction. That's a war of ideas over the mind. There's a lot of propaganda and brainwashing and misinformation, especially with social media. So here too, we can't be neutral. What do you stand for? And you have to fight for it. I fight for it through using the platforms I have, including this one. My writing abilities. Communication. We've created just literally last week, right, when the war broke out, we created a special WhatsApp group. Please join us, called Spiritual War. A special section on our website, meaningfullife.com, to gather spiritual resources, psychological, emotional resources, how to find clarity, hope, strength, confidence in times like this. So these are lessons that apply to us. This is not just it's happening there. Yes, support them, pray for them. Pray for the innocent men, women, and children. Pray for the soldiers in the front lines. They're sacrificing themselves. All powerful. But it goes a step further than that. And in addition to praying and supporting them in every possible way, it's also correcting things within ourselves. Which brings me to the next point. What exactly offends us when we see an innocent little child being, I don't even want to say decapacitated. Not just decapacitated, to be literally cut up in pieces. And I'm using a strong example of many atrocities I don't even want to spell out here. What offends us is that it's a violation against everything we believe in. Now there it's in a grotesque manner, but not in a subtle way. We all have certain things where we dismiss someone, where we disagree over petty things. So maybe now is the time to mend ruptures, to apologize and accept apologies, to get over some of the petty things or even bigger things. Call someone you haven't spoken to. And even people we love each other, to show even more love. Which brings me to a next point, which is we need to demonstrate with more that we are committed with more passion to love, light, and life than they're committed to darkness, death, and murder. Yes, that's the challenge. It's not enough just to protest. Not just enough to show the same amount of commitment. More. A little light dispels darkness naturally. A lot of light dispels a lot of it. So in addition to fighting the battles we need to fight, in addition to defending ourselves, in addition to prayers and faith and all that comes with that, we need to go to battle, war mode, where we are showing here's what we're committed to, and we're committed to it with more passion than anyone committed to the opposite. That's how wars are fought, and that's how wars are won. Obviously, our hearts, souls, prayers go out to anyone that's been hurt, to the tragic souls that have been taken from us, to their shattered families, to all those that are fighting the good cause. May they be well and may they be protected. But the things we do in our personal lives also has strong impact. As I said, we strengthen one part of the organism, all of it gets stronger. So this is just a selection of a few suggestions, a few practical things, of personal lessons. To sum up, to take it to personal heart, that we have to act, be a soldier, moral conviction and clarity, passion, stronger for the good than for the negative, among the other things that I mentioned. Now, there are specific things that each of us can do. The final thing that I said, unity. An unprecedented show of solidarity and unity among each other, among our communities, this part of the world and all parts of the world. Now, there are specific things that each of us can do. On a universal level, share a kind word with someone beyond what you've done till now. Create a group or share with your contact list. Take initiative. Be proactive. In the Jewish world, there are special mitzvot, good deeds, that a Jewish man and boy put on tefillin every day. It has a power to protect, to drive fear in enemies. Put a mezuzah on the door, which is protection. To light a candle before Shabbat or holidays. A little light dispels darkness. But the equivalent is also universal for all of us. We all have good deeds that we can do. Gratitude, unity, random acts of kindness, reaching out to those that we may have offended or offended us. And the list goes on, but each of us has to apply ourselves. Once you feel you're a soldier, you do things differently. You do things with a certain sense of urgency, a sense it's compelling, critical to do it. So I hope we don't have to talk about this more, but the way things look, we may talk about it quite more and cover more aspects and more angles. But above all, I want to extend my warmest wishes and prayers to each of you, wherever you may be, to be safe, to be healthy. May the negative energy of all of this be harnessed and transformed into positive energy. May God protect the military fighting the good cause, protect all the innocent men, women, and children there and everywhere else in the world. And may we finally usher in a world of total peace and harmony within diversity, by eradicating any form of evil and negativity and embracing the good. The day will come when we'll look back at this time and it will be written in the annals of history. How did we act? Our children, our grandchildren. How did we act in a time of this, like this? And I'd like to believe that we are acting in a way that we can look back and say proudly, we acted, we were proactive, we did things. We demonstrated that we won't take this lying down, and we will fight for good stronger than any evil on this earth. May God protect Israel, protect all its citizens. May God protect all innocent people, wherever they may be, including Gaza. The blood of one person, of an innocent person, is the blood of everyone. And I wish Hamas would simply say, you know what, all the civilians move south and we'll go to war with Israel. But that's not what cowards do. They hide behind others and they cover it up. But may the people understand and be wise enough and not allow themselves to be complicit in this. As I said, may we only find world peace with the least amount of pain and suffering. Be well, be healthy, and God bless you. I should conclude that please share your thoughts, your comments, your feedback. Always love to hear that. And please share it with others as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our special section that we've created on YouTube, a playlist around these matters that are happening right now. Spiritual war on WhatsApp, as well as our website, as I mentioned before. And again, God bless you.